Hello and welcome to Crypto Exposed. Okay guys, got a good one here for you from bitboy Crypto. We have two videos to cover by him today. And I thought I'd just get into these because both have got some good information here, so I'll watch them both and I'm interested, and as always thought I'd add my little 2 cents to them. So got my bullet points here and I want to just go through these and give you my thoughts. Okay, so first and foremost, we've got the actual title of the video. Could XRP tank to 10 cents? So this is in regards to an article I found on the Crypto Basic, and it's basically talking about XRP dropping to 10 cents after the AMM launch. So I had a quick look at this because as soon as I saw this, I was like, 10 cents, that sounds like a dramatic drop, you know? Like I was like, why would they think it's going to go that much? Like that's a huge dump. So I've just quickly briefly scanned the article just to see what the gist of this was, and basically it's a guy called Mr. Huber on X who was basically talking about how when XLM released their AMM, basically it actually just dropped like 80% in value after the AMM. And so it does say this in the article, but the first thing that come to my mind when I heard this, I was like, okay, but the thing when you talk about that is what was the conditions of the market at that time, right? Like, was they in a bear market? Like, what was the conditions, you know? Because there could be external factors that could have played a part in XLM dropping in value. We all know that the altcoins follow the market. So even, for example, if Bitcoin had a bit of a dump at that point, maybe that's what was significant for XLM at that time. Maybe it dropped with Bitcoin. So it did, when I read down, it did say that it was a bear market territory at the time. So to be honest with you, I wouldn't really give this too much credence, to be honest. Like, I'm not saying it's not possible, but to me that sounds really dramatic. I mean, the AMM is now live, and from what we're seeing, everything's fine. I wouldn't have expected it to drop that much. Even if you say it could drop down to like, what is it now currently in terms of cents? I think it's like 60 cents or something like that. Like, even if it was to drop to like 50 cents, 40 cents, something like that, but to 10 cents, like that's crazy. That's really is like bear market retrace that you're talking about when you're dropping that much. Like, that's usually after there's been the bull market and then you started to go into your retrace where the cryptos start to lose like 80 to 90% of their value. So for me personally, we'll see, because there's still time. It's not like it had to happen like literally on the day of the AMM going live, so there's still time to see how this goes. But if you ask me, 10 cents, I do not think that's going to happen personally. So time will tell, but I'm not really putting too much into that. I think that's way too steep of a drop just for the AMM. Like, the AMM, if anything, should be more of a positive thing. So to me, I would be expecting, if anything, for us to get more positive price action long term. Not saying it's going to happen like in the immediate right now, but you know, over time, if the AMM continuously being used, it's going to be building up value. So I would expect more positive price action than negative. So yeah, don't really think that's going to be something that's going to be that likely. But okay, then moving on, we've got a news article about Coinbase announcing some new futures listings, and they've basically left out XRP. And so obviously a lot of the XRP community not happy about this, right? Why are you leaving out XRP? Blah, blah, blah. And so Ben was just talking about this, and he was just talking about how he personally thinks that Ripple are suppressing the price, probably just to pay for law fees, selling XRP, that kind of thing. I'm not saying I agree with that personally, but this was his thoughts. And then he was just saying, obviously, just the general market, you know, like XRP does follow the market. So I do agree with that. I think that's fine. That's definitely just the way things go. Generally speaking, all cryptos follow Bitcoin at the moment until we get into alt season. And that's when Bitcoin dominance drops and the altcoins outperform Bitcoin. But then there was something that you mentioned that I found interesting, and this is not something I was aware of. I couldn't fact check it, so I don't know how accurate this is, but he said Coinbase and Ripple are both basically backed by the Digital Currency Group. Never heard of them personally, but this is what he was saying. And he was saying that basically maybe the Digital Currency Group view futures as a bad idea right now for XRP. So maybe they've got some really good news that they do want to share, but they're waiting for the price to go up to share that news. Me personally, I don't even know who the Digital Currency Group are, so I can't really say anything about that, but I don't really even think it's that, to be honest with you. If you used to ask me, my personal opinion, I would probably just say it's the fact that they've still got the lawsuit going on. That would be my general presumption, because don't forget, yes, it was said that XRP isn't a security, but there were problems with XRP being sold to institutions, etc. Now, would Coinbase be looked at as an institution? I don't know, maybe. And the thing is, if we look at how the SEC are, they just try and twist the truth anyway. So even if they're not deemed an institution, I'm sure the SEC will try and twist up their lies in any kind of way they can to then try and make it look like Coinbase were a security. And then they might try and drop a whole nother lawsuit on them. So for me, I'm just thinking, maybe they just don't want to deal with the potential hassle. Like, they've already got a lawsuit currently going on with the SEC. So maybe they're just thinking, you know what, let's just not tempt fate. Like, let's not just give them any more ammunition to try and drop more lawsuits on us, because I'm sure they're going to try and do as much as they can. Because don't forget, guys, the SEC actually reviewed Coinbase's S1 for them to actually go public, and they agreed with it all. But now they've still turned around and actually sued them anyway. Like, that's how insane it is at the SEC. Like, this is how crazy it is. They're actually saying, hey, yeah, this is fine. You guys can go ahead and trade and whatnot. And then later coming back and saying, actually, you know, we actually think you're selling securities. So, yeah, we're going to come back and sue you now. You know, it's insanity. It really is. It's crazy. So, in my eyes, I would just think that's the most logical answer, to be honest with you. I think it just makes the most sense. So, I don't know for sure. Like, there could be a reason that we're not even thinking of right now, or there could be information that we're just not privy to that could be affecting that decision, right? So I don't know, but the logical answer to me is just, yeah, the lawsuit's not over. So, you know, Ripple have probably got a stigma around them at the moment, because we have still heard, even since they won the lawsuit, there are still companies who are a bit, you know, hesitant to work with Ripple. They've admitted this. So clearly, I think they just need to get this lawsuit over and done with. And I think that's when the thing's just fully resolved, they can then go about continuing on, you know, without as much worries, and, you know, with companies feeling that little bit more comfortable working with Ripple. So that would be my guess if I was going to go for it. Okay, we've then just got another video again by Ben. And he's talking about the SEC versus Ripple secret meeting. So it's not really a secret meeting. It's basically a meeting to discuss a potential settlement with Ripple, but they want to seal the meeting, which basically means they're not going to let all the information out just to the public. That's basically what it means. And so Ben was just giving his opinion on what he thinks about this. And, you know, he was saying about how Ripple and the XRP army have embarrassed the SEC, left egg on Gary's face. I've been saying that the same thing myself. I completely agree. I think they're very embarrassed with the way they've been looked in that lawsuit, the way they've not got what they wanted. So not only is it a thing where it's embarrassing for them, they obviously lost as well, right? So it's not even like they got what they needed out of the lawsuit. So, you know, it's that kind of thing. So I'm sure they're not really happy with Ripple. So Ben then basically said what he thinks the concealing of the meeting is about is that if they do settle, if SEC do settle with Ripple, he thinks that they're trying to basically conceal certain bits of information to the public so that if they do want to obviously go ahead and try and sue other crypto companies, they can try and seal some of the, you know, the information that they don't want to get out, and then still obviously go ahead and try and go after other crypto companies. This makes sense to a degree. I mean, we've already seen the lawsuit play out, right? So in terms of XRP being deemed not a security, that's not really something they can argue anymore because we've had a judge actually say that. But on the other hand, we have had the Terra Luna case where the judge actually disagreed with Annalisa Torres' decision, and he actually thinks that cryptos can be deemed securities. So I think this is where it can really be luck of the draw, to be honest with you. But yes, is it a thing where if they settle, maybe there's going to be things that they want to conceal? Well, yeah, because think about it like this. The SEC might not even want to settle at this point, but it might be like, look, we're fighting a losing battle here. We're willing to give up X, Y, Z. But they don't want everyone to know that. Why? Because it just makes them look even worse, right? Because all the leverage right now is really to Ripple, to be honest. Like, they have got the upper hand because of their lawsuit. So it might be a thing where the SEC are looking at as, we are going to be willing to settle, but we don't want to show the weak hands that we have to the public of what we've settled on. Because other crypto companies, if they see, oh yeah, look at what they ended up having to accept to go with the settlement, the other crypto companies might think about it in the same way, right? They might think, okay, so if we win this lawsuit against them, This is how bad and desperate the SEC can get to just settle the case. Do you see what I mean? Like, the other example is the lawsuit that happened with, not Library. There was another company recently, I forgot their name, but they were trying to lie about how the company were using the funds, and they actually managed to get them to freeze the funds, right? And they've actually had sanctions put against them now. Now, when it first got found out that the lawyers were basically telling lies about what the company were doing to get the freeze, the SEC were just like, okay, we're sorry, like, you know, we're going to withdraw the lawsuit. So they got real desperate to try and get out of it, thinking that would be enough for them to, you know, basically put it behind them. But no, the judge stood his ground and said, no, we're going to sanction you guys because what you're doing is wrong, which I really love to see that. That's great to see that the law system is working the way it should be, because whether you're a government agency or not, you should be held to account. And if anything, you guys should be held to a higher standard, because you guys are supposed to be like the law. Like, you guys are part of the government. So you guys are supposed to be upholding the law, not abusing it, right? So when we can clearly see that as bright as day, yes, you guys should be held accountable for that. Absolutely. So, you know, when I'm looking at it from that perspective, maybe the SEC are prepared to settle with Ripple at this point. But maybe they don't want everyone to say that, actually, you know, we've ended up having to give up a lot of things, concede on a lot of things that we wouldn't have originally wanted to do. So yes, we don't want the public to see what we've actually given up on, and all these crypto companies to see what we've conceded on to eventually settle with Ripple, right? So that to me would make sense. So we'll see how this goes. If there is a settlement, it's not usually something that just comes out straight away. It could be like another month from now, because don't forget, these are just discussions anyway. So if there's discussions and they're saying like, yes, there's a chance to settle, you know, they'll then have to discuss it back and forth further to agree on the terms, finalize everything, get it done. So don't think it might just come out tomorrow. Probably not. But the other thing is, I will just say, guys, like, the thing with the SEC is they have unlimited resources. So if they just want to continue to act like spoiled brats, they can just continue to go ahead with the lawsuit anyway, right? Like, at the end of the day, if they lose, they lose. It's not like it's coming out of their pocket. It's coming out of, unfortunately, the US hard workers' tax, right? It's coming out of their pocket. So for them, it's like, hey, if we want to continue this lawsuit, we can, because, you know, what's it to us? It's just money, and we've got unlimited resources, so we're fine. So for that reason, I don't really know if they will settle ultimately. I'm really not sure, but we'll see. Time will tell. But yeah, interesting stuff here nonetheless. So time will tell in regards to how all this pans out. Will XRP go to 10 cents? I highly doubt that. Are the SEC going to settle with Ripple? Also, time will tell. I'm very interested to see. It's definitely a thing where the SEC have lost a lot of their leverage, but at the same time, if they really think they could potentially win on the things that they've managed to get like their way with in terms of the institutional sales, they may want to push for that, right? And they may want to push for it as hard as they can so they can try and up the fine that Ripple have to pay. Because that's the other thing, right? It may be like, okay, maybe you've got us in terms of the security, but at least we've got these institutional sales. So we're going to try and fine you as hard as we can on that part to basically do as much damage to you as we can. Because I know Gary's not happy with Ripple right now. You know, Ripple is not on good terms with Gary at all. And that's through no fault of Ripple's. Obviously, all they've done is defend themselves, but Gary looks like an idiot, which he is. So obviously he's not going to like that. So I think in that regard, it wouldn't surprise me if he just really does just continue to push on with this, because he's still continuing to try and sue other cryptos. So, you know, he's not showing any signs of stopping there in that regard. So why stop there with Ripple, you know? Why not go all out? So we'll see, but time will tell. But yes, very interesting videos here nonetheless, and I'm definitely interested to see how this pans out. But what do you guys think with the things that have been covered in this video? Do you like the topics that have been covered today? Do you think that XRP is going down to 10 cents? Do you think that the SEC will settle with Ripple? And if the SEC do settle with Ripple, do you think that will be good for XRP's price? Let me know your thoughts, guys. I'll be interested to hear. Thank you very much for watching this. If you did like it, please remember to drop a comment, like, and subscribe. But until next time, take care.